Our movement standard for the squat goes like this. You put your toes out, knees track over toes, heels just wider than hips, sit back through your heels, squat to parallel or below. Do you know squat? The question becomes, why toes out, knees out? What's the point of the toes out, knees out? It has to do with two things. One, safety, and two, debunking your old squat. So let's talk about the number one reason to do the toes out, knees out. The toes out, knees out goes like this. If I'm doing a toes out, knees out squat like this, I can get to parallel or below. Why do I care? Because it isn't until you go below about 40 degrees, maybe 45 degrees at the knee, that I even engage hamstrings and glutes effectively, right? And that's why we're doing the deep squat, is so we can hit hamstrings and glutes. If we don't, then all we're doing is a quad-centric squat, which is great if you're a bodybuilder. If you're a bodybuilder, fine, you do your quad-centric squat, take your knee imbalances and go play. The rest of us would like our knees to be balanced, and the only way that I can do that is by working my quadriceps and my hamstrings, and then eventually those glutes. I want it all. If I'm gonna do a squat, I'm gonna get the most bang for my buck. So in order for me to do that, I've gotta go below 45 degrees. I gotta get down in here, right? There's a problem with that though. If I'm doing the old school squat, which looks like this, remember? If you don't remember, but at my age, here was the old school squat. Heels directly underneath your hips, not wider, heels directly underneath the hips. You put a bar on your back, and then you do that squat where you go about 45 degrees and back up. Just that squat. Again, it's a quad-centric squat. It's all about quadriceps. That's the way they taught us when I was a kid, but that's all they cared about was bodybuilding. If you want to get a whole body workout from the waist down, you got to get deeper than that. So why toes out? Knees out, knees track over the toes. Why? It's simple. You got to get your femurs out of the way. If you're going to go into a deep squat, watch this. If I'm doing that old school squat and I go into a deep squat like this, I can only go down that far before femurs start running into that little point on your hip, ASIS, anterior superior iliac spine, ASIS, right? Put your fingers right there in that little hip crease and go down. And how far can you go before those two smash together? Now, if they do smash together, this becomes a safety issue, because as I'm going down here, if I want to go recruit hamstrings and glutes, I'm going to have to sacrifice my spine. Notice that I've got a nice internally curved spine right here, right? If I go any lower than that, once these guys smash together, the only way I'm going to get lower than this is by rolling my back around. And this right here is a terrible position to weight yourself. You don't ever want to find yourself in that position, but if you're going to put weight on that, you're in trouble, and you have sacrificed your safety to get fit. Those things, that's never a good ratio, okay? So we always want to do things that are safe first. That way we can stay effective and get the most out of it. So toes out, knees out, watch this. I go from here down to there, I run into problems. How do I get lower than that without sacrificing my spine? Easy. I just turn everything out a little bit, step out, heels just a little wider than my hips. Now I get those femurs out of the way, and I can get into a nice deep squat without sacrificing my spine and my safety.